These weeks mark the 3-year anniversary of the 2018 Summer of Shame, when decades of sexual abuse allegations against ex-Cardinal Theodore McCarrick implicated numerous U.S. and Vatican bishops who covered up for him and enabled his ascent to power. Watching prelates like McCarrick and Worrell being dethroned, bishops and institutions like the Pontifical North American College in Rome were spotlighted for failing to protect seminarians and minors or abetting McCarrick's sexual acts. The comments of prelates who feared a similar fall were suspiciously uniform, stating, quote, "I don't remember," or, quote, "I was shocked." At the end of heated months of scandal, exasperated Catholics hoped the Church would never again be visited by such a summer. Just 3 years later, however, we find ourselves in the Summer of Shame 2021, once again with the U.S. and Vatican episcopacy drowning in scandal. A damning June 2021 affidavit has been submitted by a highly experienced former special agent in charge of the Federal Bureau of Investigation against New York Cardinal Timothy Dolan and NAC officials in support of former North American College seminarian Anthony Gorgia's landmark case. The affidavit implicates more than 30 U.S. and Vatican bishops who were informed of and covered up sexual predation allegations at the North American College. This time, the Summer of Shame centers on, among others, the North American College rector, Father Peter Harmon of the Diocese of Springfield in Illinois, and McCarrick and Worrell protege, Vice Rector Father Adam Park of the Archdiocese of Washington. It also highlights Cardinal Dolan and his long-time relationship with Harmon's alleged homosexual lover, Archbishop George Lucas, which affidavits allege is one among several motives Dolan had for covering up sexual predation at the North American College. With Dolan presently the senior prelate on the North American College Board of Governors, other board members are following his lead in covering up damaging revelations against North American College officials and Archbishop Lucas. Dolan succeeded Cardinal Edwin O'Brien as North American College rector in the wake of findings by Dr. Joseph Barone that 1 in 12 North American College seminarians tested positive for HIV. Dolan was well aware of the extent of sexual predation at the North American College, which even involved a seminarian Dolan studied with at the North American College, who later, as a faculty member, was found to be preying upon seminarians. During his 7-year tenure as North American College rector, Dolan recommended Harmon for ordination, only later for Harmon to be accused of engaging in sexual relations with Dolan's longtime contemporary in St. Louis, Archbishop Lucas. Over the years, Dolan has been accused of covering up sexual misconduct and mistreating victims and whistleblowers, a record that spans his time in Missouri, Washington, D.C., Wisconsin, and New York. In allegations from multiple witnesses deemed credible by the former FBI special agent in charge, Park stands accused of sexual harassment and misconduct toward seminarians under his authority, and Harmon is accused of graphic sexual acts with Lucas at an orgy in the presence of vulnerable seminarians and current North American College Board of Governors member, Bishop Kevin Vaughn. Unlike the June 2017 drug-fueled gay orgy in Vatican City, at which were reportedly found Cardinal Coco Palmerio and his secretary, Monsignor Luigi Capozzi, the orgy alleged to have involved Lucas and Harmon had been successfully covered up by Vatican and other church officials until the February 2021 filing of the Gorgia lawsuit. After reviewing copious evidence substantiating the orgy allegations against Harmon and Lucas, The former FBI special agent in charge stated that among the entirely credible details the eyewitness provided include, quote, the alleged dimensions and specific descriptions of Harmon's and other participants' intimate body parts, and, quote, the graphic sexual acts attributed to Harmon and Lucas, among others. A separate June 2021 affidavit by one subject of Park's sexual misconduct recounted Park's unwelcomed homosexual advances of a, quote, definite sexual connotation and his proclivities toward North American College seminarians. The question at the fore of this year's Summer of Shame is, who knew about sexual misconduct toward the North American College's vulnerable seminarians, and who failed to prevent it? The former FBI special agent in charge's affidavit gives every indication that U.S. and Vatican prelates and North American College officials will not be able to feign deniability or shift blame as so many had done in elusive media statements of 2018. After reviewing evidence, the former FBI special agent in charge identified Cardinal Dolan, the North American College Board of Governors, and many other prelates who, quote, received and ignored incriminating reports about Fathers Harmon and Park. Over the course of 2 years, these prelates received no less than 7 such reports, each of which were uninvestigated. Despite disingenuous public statements about taking seriously the reporting of abuse, the Archdiocese of Washington was discovered to have blocked reports of misconduct after Cardinal Gregory received sexual predation allegations against Park, his own priest, and cover-up allegations against Dolan and the North American College. Even though Cardinal Sean O'Malley and other U.S. bishops likewise reported the deeply troubling allegations to the Apostolic Nunciature, the Vatican has kept Harmon and Park in their posts without any impartial investigation. 2021 Summer of Shame not only demands accountability of complicit prelates, but also exposes deceptive tactics used to ensure that the defendant's secrets would not come to light. Similar to the whitewashed McCarrick report crafted by American attorney Jeffrey Lena, who defended the Holy See for more than 20 years, Lucas employed a defense attorney, Bill Roberts, to direct a so-called special panel, which, according to experts, masked credible accusations against Lucas himself and Springfield priests with whom he was reportedly sexually involved. With Roberts handpicked and even compensated by the diocese, one could not find the panel to be any more independent when handling allegations against Lucas than if Bill Clinton were to have picked his own defense attorney to report, if allegations were true, that he was having sexual relations with a White House intern. In line with the McCarrick report, which failed to interview key witnesses like Archbishop Vigano, the panel smeared a credible witness who offered damaging accounts against Lucas, while omitting evidence which would have left the panel no choice but to act upon the incriminating allegations. The eyewitness recounted that he became a victim of threats and retaliation by leading Springfield officials in an effort to intimidate him from coming forward with his credible information against Lucas and Harmon. In a July 2021 statement to Church Militant, Springfield's General Counsel, James Bach Jr., concealed the fact that Springfield received multiple reports over the course of 2 years concerning Harmon and Park, which were ignored, uninvestigated, and undenied. After reviewing the Springfield panel's highly suspect report and the eyewitnesses' compelling evidence, the former FBI special agent in charge debunked the legitimacy of the Lucas Commission panel and affirmed, quote, after my thorough analysis, I find no reason to doubt the credibility of the information provided by the eyewitness regarding the orgy. The former FBI special agent in charge's findings are supported not only by crushing evidence against Harmon and Lucas, but also separate allegations of sexual misconduct spanning as recently as 2018 against no less than 20 Springfield priests, a list which includes some of the very same alleged participants in the orgy and even present leadership in the Springfield diocese. Just as Archbishop Vigano's testimony and the graphic 2018 Pennsylvania grand jury report revealed a crisis of epic proportions, the recent explosive video-recorded testimony of seminarians across the country proves no less consequential. This time, the testimony reveals that the sexual misconduct covered up at the North American College is corroborated by a pervasive pattern taking place in numerous other seminaries. Seminarians who came forward described not only disturbing sexual acts by seminary officials, but also retaliatory subcultures and networks that protected accused predators while re-victimizing the abused. The United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, which claimed that, quote, every time one bishop fails to act, the entire episcopate is tainted, is now among those who failed to investigate sexual misconduct and cover-up at the North American College. Among those who concealed the allegations include the chairman of the USCCB Committee on Clergy, Consecrated Life and Vocations, and former North American College rector, Bishop James Cecchio, and Cardinal Gregory protege, Father Luke Ballman, Harmon's longtime NAC contemporary, and many others with long-standing personal ties to the North American College or to one or more of the accused parties. Victims of McCarrick contend that decades of cover-up and shattered lives could be summarized in two words: everybody knew. The same words a North American College seminarian used to describe Park's misconduct toward vulnerable seminarians. Had every church official proven to have known, not ignored misconduct at the North American College, seminarians such as Gorgia would not have had to file suit as their only chance to address the crisis church leadership chose to ignore. Just as McCarrick's Summer of Shame exposed a network that enabled his rise in the church, so too does the lawsuit against Dolan and the North American College leave no stone unturned by revealing a web of clerics who enabled the defendants' ascent to power. Anyone wishing to support the Save Our Seminarians Fund and to help cover the legal cost of the effort to protect vulnerable seminarians is encouraged to contribute at the link below. Anyone wishing to share additional information may write to saveourseminarians@yahoo.com.